everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another HPN's MyExpert live training webinar. Well, what I'm going to show you today we're showing you how to put photos into text. It's a great thing to have, especially if you're doing custom stuff for like Mother's Day, Father's Day. All you sublimation folks are going to be real stoked on this, but it's not just sublimation. You're able to, if you're using something like Easy Subly or something of that nature, you can actually do this for t-shirts as well. So you see here, we are in Photoshop. Very cool. This is Adobe Photoshop. This is kind of the default screen when you get there. We're going to create new, and you can really use any size. I have this habit of, I'm always creating my new images in 8.5 by 11, just because I'm very familiar with those dimensions, so I know more or less how something's going to look. You guys can create whatever you want, because we're just creating the image here. We're not going to send it to print from Photoshop. More on that later. I'm just going to click create, and I have my 8.5 by 11 size. So the first thing you're going to want to do is right here on your left, you see this text right there. Just going to click on your text tool, and you're going to type up whatever you want. And that's a very small font. So I'm just going to click the check to check it off. And then over here on my right, now your screen might look a little bit different. This is how I have mine set up, where I have the character part over here. And you can see my character is like 7-point font. You can either type in your font size. If I type in 50, it'll grow it to 50. Or if you just hover over, you can actually click the T next to it and drag. And then it'll. And lastly, the other thing you can do, which is what I usually do, is I'll click just my general multi-purpose select tool, and I'll click on the corner here so that way I can edit the size, and I'll just edit it. And you'll notice that it's not proportional right here, right? You can do two things. You can just hold the shift key. Let's turn that off real quick. You can hold the shift key, or you could just click this lock button, and then it'll lock your proportions. Another thing you can do is you can hold the Alt key, ALT, and it'll bring it out from the center, which is what I usually like to do. So just because I like to keep things organized, I'm going to center it with my page. There we go. Okay, so here's my word. You could use whatever word you want. I'm going to switch over back to my text tool. For example, if you wanted to type family, which actually we'll start with this, type your text. Now, I have it set to impact because this is a very bold font. What I'm about to show you, putting the images into text, it does not look good with thin fonts like ailerons. It's not really gonna look good because, what the heck, I'll show you guys. So I'm just gonna drag this in. What you're not seeing me is me dragging it in from off screen, but I'm dragging this in. There we go, it's me, my brothers, my grandpa, boom, right? I'm gonna hit the check mark. So now this is in my page. And I'm gonna here's where the trick is, guys. If you miss this, you miss the whole thing. This is the prestige. You're gonna right click the photo, and also make sure the photo is above your text layer, not below it. Not gonna work this way. Place the photo above your text layer, right click it, create clipping mask. Magic trick, ready in 3, 2, 1. Boom. So check it out. So here you see, I tossed my photo over. What I did is I created a clipping mask. I masked it over my font. And now you can see why a thin font is dumb, because you can see a little bit of my grandpa's face, my brother, but like you can't really see anything. So I'm going to change it back to impact, because impact is a very bold font. Oops, let's get that. And you're going to be, there we go. You're going to be able to see more of us. Another thing you can do to help, and so now it's a game of, okay, so I have my image here. I'm going to move it. I'm going to try to fit us all in the photo. One trick that I like to do is move and so I'm at my text layer. And here's the letter spacing. And you can either type in, so you're going to go like -10, and it'll scoot them in. I just like to click right here, and I'll just, with my arrow key, I'll just hit the down arrow. And then you hit enter to like, there we go. So you put the letters kind of close to each other, and it's a little bit easier, especially if you have like a photo like this, to fit people's faces. Sometimes people get cut off, dude, and that's just like the name of the game. So you pick whoever you like the least, and then they get cut off. So let's see, my grandpa, he's kind of the focal point of this photo. And then, okay, so I'm gonna cut off a little bit of my face here, or another thing you can do. And so this is where you got to get creative, guys, because there's no like right way to fit everyone in. I can make this bigger, I guess, and you know that might help a little bit. Still gonna be some people getting cut off, but you know that'll work. So sorry to my other brothers, they're getting their eyes cut out. Each of them is gonna be a pirate, right? So again, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. This is where you guys get creative, do your own thing. But there we go. And there's a couple things you could do. One thing that I like to do, just because if this goes on like a t-shirt or something, you because of the font, it's like, wait, what is it? Oh, it says family, right? What I like to do is just oh, where is it? I like to double click on a layer. That's going to open up layer style. You could see here a lot of my go-tos. I'll add a stroke. And if you don't have these automatically filled up, you just click on this FX button and click on stroke. Add a stroke, and what that does is it adds a stroke around whatever you typed up. And I'm going to edit the stroke. I want it to be on the inside of my, that looks all right. Maybe center. That looks okay. You can edit the thickness of the stroke. You can do whatever you want, really. And okay. And so now I'm going to hide this really quick. I'm going to hide my background layer. And I'm just going to save this as a PNG. We're going to go over to File. You go to Save As. Family pick in text. You're going to save it as a PNG. Now a PNG file is going to it's going to keep the transparent background. So you know when you save a JPEG, how it still has the white background. A PNG file is going to keep the transparency of the background. Save. And PNG options. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know exactly what these mean, but these are my defaults. And so really quick, that's a great question, Didi. She's asking, can they just put someone per letter? And yes, you can. The way to do that is, let's get rid of this. So anyway, so I saved my image. We're going to head over to Silhouette Studio in just a second, all you Silhouette fans. But for Photoshop, this is how you do it. I'm going to delete this. Where is it? Delete layer. Yeah. Family. And here's what I'll do. I'll space these out because you see how they're touching. We don't really want that. And I'll probably just have to shrink it a little bit. So here's how I would set it up. You're asking me if we could do one person at a time. The answer is yes. And here's what I would do. I would rasterize layer type, rasterize type. And then we don't need the layer. So I'm gonna start over really quick. Clear layer style. Okay. So here's the type. Here's what I would do. And this is easier in like a different program, but I would literally just like split it up. Now you could type out, it might even be faster. Type out F, put that on its own layer, and type out A, put that on its own layer, type out M, put that on its own layer, and so on. So you see we've typed out all these layers together. I'm just going to do a little tricksy here. I'm gonna horizontally evenly space them. There we go. And you know what? We're actually gonna worry about the spacing a little bit. This is my like kind of like, am I perfectionist? Like even though I'm just like showing you guys a trick, like I still want it to look cool. So just bear with me, guys. It's gonna get good. So now we're gonna show you how to do all the letters, each family member getting their own letter, right? Now I don't have a ton of different pictures, so we're more learning the principle here. No one's actually gonna wear the shirt that I'm making right now. Okay, so we're gonna select the letter F. What you're gonna want to do is, here we go. This picture is gonna work for the letter F. You're gonna drag it in. It's gonna populate right. And I don't care that it's under the rest. I just need it over the letter F. Right click, create clipping mask. And you're gonna have to do this. I'm gonna resize it. You're gonna have to do this for every letter. But on the flip side, it's gonna look really cool. Here's me and my grandpa on this letter, check. I'm gonna select the letter A, and we're gonna do it all over again. And now I'm gonna click on this family photo, drag it in. I don't care that it's under these letters, I only need it over the letter A. And you see here on the right in my layer styles, I'm gonna click yes, I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna create a clipping mask. And now I'm gonna resize it. Let's see who gets the letter A. All right, my little brother, he gets the letter A. And you would go so on and so forth until you've put your photos in each and every individual letter. Because, and here's why you can't type out the whole word, because if I layer mask this over the whole word, then this would take up the M and the I and blah, blah, blah. Even though it's harder to set up, you got to type up each letter from the beginning. It makes it a lot easier to position people in every letter. So it'll be more aesthetically pleasing when you are done. So yeah, you got to type out each letter up front, but everything's going to just look a lot better. You'll be able to fine tune it. You have a lot more control over the finished product. And that's how you go letter by letter. You would just type up each letter individually, space them appropriately, and then if you want to move them together, you could just hit the Shift key and select both of these, and you could hit Control G, or you could right click and hit Group wherever it is. Oh no, you don't right click, sorry, you just down here hit the Group button, and now when you move these, they're together because you group them. So then you could, if you needed to reposition the letters, you could do that. All right, I'm going over to Silhouette Studio. All right, everybody, I'm in Silhouette Studio Designer Edition, but this will work with pretty much any version of Silhouette Studio. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here in Silhouette Studio. Actually, what I'm going to do is I want it to be wide, so I'm going to go 11. And then I'm just going to make the 8.5 really quick. And you can see here, I'm just setting up my document size. So here we go. Sorry. I'm going to type in my text layer, and we're going to really just do the same thing. I'm not a great thinker of words, so I'm just going to type that in all caps. And now I'm going to go over on the right here. Well, you have two options. You select your text up here. Actually, on the top toolbar, you can have quick access. You can use a different font that's also very nice and bold, called Evo Gria. And for the sake of this lesson, it's going to work. So now that's cool. Got my font. I'm going to select it, and I like to fill it in just so I can see what the heck I'm doing. So I'm going to fill it in, and let's just make it big. That way you guys can see exactly what's going on. Family. Awesome, right? Actually, you know what? Now that I look at it, this font, it's a little thinner, so we'll see how it works. I'm going to go over to my font tool, open the, text style, and I'm going to reduce the letter spacing. You see right here? There we go. So I'm just going to reduce that a little bit so the letters are a little closer together. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I did. I'm going to get my file, and I'm just going to drag it over here in Silhouette Studio. Now, here's what's cool. All right, you guys, did you see what just happened? Did you see that? I dragged it in, and it automatically filled it in. That's one of the cool new features. If you have the new Silhouette Studio, it'll do that for you. Now, it didn't do it exactly as I liked because it put the picture in each letter. So I'm just gonna hit undo. You know, sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. You know, another thing you can do is you can right click this. You are going to make it a compound path. Okay, now they truly are one item, and it should. There we go. So it filled it in automatically. I mean, that's the easy way to do it. If you're just dragging a pattern, which is another really cool thing that you could do. If you're just dragging in a pattern, that'll work out just nice. But because I need to reposition the photo, I'm not going to do that. So really quick, I'm just going to hit the undo button one more time. Undo. There we go. And I'm probably going to have to zoom out a little bit for this. So just don't drag it over. Oh, that's really hard to do. That's a really big letter. So don't drag it over your font. Just drag it in somewhere else. There we go. And because this picture is it's a very high resolution shot, it's just really big. So give me a second. I'll shrink it down. There we go. That's a little more manageable. Let's zoom back in now. All right, there we go. So now here is what I am going to do. I'm going to remove the fill by clicking this hash marks here. I'm going to set this as my bottom layer, send it to back. You see that right there? Boom, send to back. And now I can kind of position my picture as I would, right? Inside the family. exactly how I want it. It's this font's a little bit different, so I think we're able to get most of us. But since this M is a little thin, my grandpa's face is getting cut off. So, oh, there we go. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Right. Oh no, see now it's again, this is where you guys gotta get creative with your own pictures. I'm sorry to be spending so much time, but just so you know the work that goes into it. Right? And so you're going to select them both, open up your modify panel, and you're gonna hit crop. Boom. And that's how you put family into text. Crop and Dunsey. And now this will be now if you, this is like for print and cut materials, like if you have Easy Subly. I need, oh, by the way, I was going to show the Easy Subly print, but I need to update the firmware on my Cameo that I'm using. So I tried to do a test before and it just wasn't working. I had the printout. So this is my practice that I did. It's going to look like this if you're using Easy Subly. You see, I did United with the flag pattern in there. That's okay. A pattern is way easier to position than a photograph. I'll tell you that right now. But there we go. Here, that's how you do it in Silhouette Studio. So today we've learned how to put letters in text in Photoshop, and now we know how to do letters and text in Silhouette Studio. Now, if you're in Silhouette Studio, the way you finish it off is you just turn on your registration marks. Make sure everything is inside of here, and you go to send, and you're gonna cut these. There we go. You're ready to roll. It's gonna cut that out. Oh, so I don't know if any of you guys are curious, but can you do this in heat transfer paper? Technically, you can. Here's the problem. Heat transfer paper doesn't come on a backing. There's no carrier sheet. So you have to find a way to mask the heat transfer paper, like Nina 3G Jet Opaque. There's a couple other ones out there, Jet Pro Soft Stretch, PRP Dark Pro, whatever. You have to find a way to mask and lift all the letters, because if your Silhouette cuts out each letter individually, you're gonna have to pick it up and then place it on the shirt individually. Easy Subly being the exception. If you're doing this in Easy Subly, you have to. It comes with a mask. The problem with heat transfer paper is it's really tough to mask. The mask doesn't stick to it for some reason. So that one, try at your own risk. But now, if you're just gonna sublimate it, you don't need to cut anything. You could just turn these off. You could just send this to print. There we go, off. You could just send this to print, and you could put this on submit it onto a t-shirt, no problem. You could put this on mugs. You could do this for anything. This actually makes a really cool mug, by the way. If you have a family like wrapping around the whole mug and everybody's pictures in it, you take the time to put each family member in their own photo. You could do it with the last name, which is really cool. So for me, it would just be like, instead of saying family, it would say my last name, Barbosa, and each member of the family. So, you know, that's cool stuff. These do great on coffee mugs, but for family reunions, or let's say you guys are all just going to, well, no one's going anywhere right now, but if you're going to theme parks or something like family trips, it looks great on a photo. It's just something really cool to add to your arsenal. So really quick, they're saying, what about the Photoshop file we did? This is it right here. Just gonna drag it in. And like I was saying, is the cool thing about the new Silhouette Studio, which is why you want to update to the latest edition. When you drop in a PNG, it automatically traces it for you. So it's ready to go, ready to cut. And then of course you would just proceed as you would with a regular, make sure your registration marks are on, send it to print, of course, before you send it to cut. Otherwise, what are you cutting? And there we go. Okay, that's gonna do it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us once again. You can catch this webinar if you kind of just skipped in at the end. You can catch this webinar at heat.press/webinar replay. Not only will you catch this replay, you're gonna catch all the previous replays that we've of the webinars that we've done. So be sure to check that out. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions, you guys can head over to our Facebook group. Facebook group, heat.press/FB group, or just look up Heat Press Nation Creators on Facebook. Once again, that's Heat Press Nation Creators. You guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, my name is Jared, here with Heat Press Nation. Happy to share whatever I can with you guys to help make your businesses Amazing. So yeah, show us what you're working on. We'd love to see what you guys are doing. It's gonna do it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you around. Bye.